Chuck DeVore is a retired Army intelligence officer. So we got a lot of options now for the commander-in-chief. The Marines are going to get there from Japan soon. We got the 82nd on the way. What does that do with the Strait now?
Well, Jesse, it radically multiplies the lethality available to the CENTCOM commander, Admiral Cooper. He has so many different ways that he can apply pressure, so many different types of operations that are now available to him that were not available to him with simply using air power alone. And let's very briefly talk about that just for a moment. Let's go back, Jesse, just 4 weeks ago, 4 long weeks ago, and think, would we even in our wildest dreams imagine that we would be where we are today insofar as the number of casualties the U.S. military has suffered and the Israeli military, the civilian casualties, the number of rockets that have been launched successfully from Iran, the drones, Hezbollah, the whole ticket. This has been a fantastic operation that has far exceeded anything any honest critic could ever dream of. Yeah,
so, yes, with that said, it's not over. And so it appears to be we're dual tracking it. You got negotiations going on through Pakistan with this speaker who's gotten immunity now for 4 more days. And while at the same time you got Marines and paratroopers moving in to do what needs to be done in case the negotiations don't go well. What kind of prize do you think, Chuck, the Iranians offered the president to, I don't know, get him in a better mood for negotiations?
Well, the only thing I can think of that's readily available is some of the Iranian oil tankers that are filled with crude, many of which were sanctioned and, of course, being bought up for pennies on the dollar by China. Perhaps the Iranians offered some large super tankers filled with oil.
Okay, so that's definitely on the table. We have no idea what that is. We do know Trump likes gifts. The fact now that the British Navy is going to take the lead on this international naval convoy, what does that say about the timing of this mission and how it's coming together?
Well, again, now you're seeing the excellent diplomacy that the Trump administration team has been able to pull off. This is where you see Secretary of State Marco Rubio really pulling his weight. So you've got the U.S. and our Israeli allies continuing to pummel Iran. You've got the temperature being increased with the arrival of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and the 82nd Airborne. And by pulling in an international coalition to keep an international waterway open, what we're doing is essentially daring the Iranians to try to disrupt this multinational crew that's trying to keep a very important waterway open for the whole world. And so I think it's, again, a diplomatic masterstroke. It allows America and Israel to continue on mission and gives a very important freedom of navigation mission to our friends and allies.
Yeah, give them a little exercise. The regime has not collapsed, although the Guard has missed 2 paychecks and they're all underground and can't use cell phones. So who knows what's really going on. But the fact we haven't seen the new supreme leader, and I mean, do you see this regime collapsing? Where do you see this thing going there?
Well, I mean, first of all, you do have de facto regime change, right? The people who were in power 4 weeks ago are no longer in power. So that is a fact. The question, though, is what type of regime do we have? Do we have an injured terror regime that wants to continue to try to project power and terror attacks through its proxies, the Houthi rebels, Hezbollah, Hamas, units in clandestine kill teams here in America or in the Western Hemisphere? Or do we have a weakened Iran that wants to focus on development, to give their own people better lives, to simply trade peacefully with other nations? That's, of course, what we're looking for. And if it happens kind of the same way the president has managed to do in Venezuela or might happen yet in Cuba, that's fine. We don't need to have blood on the streets. What we need to have is a nation that acts responsibly and doesn't think it can usher in the end of the world through some apocalyptic actions that bring in the hidden 12th Imam.
Right. Maybe a military dictatorship, not a fanatical clerical dictatorship, might be better off if they're weakened, they're crippled, and they focus internally, because, you know, you're not looking for regime change. You want to just change the regime's behavior.